Today's other headlines start at Harvard University. The school announced this afternoon that it will review academic offerings and admissions policies in response to a pair of internal reports about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia on campus. Harvard's president, Alan Garber, commissioned the reports following last spring's pro-Palestinian protests. Garber wrote today that he wants to, quote, ensure that Harvard University is a place where ideas are welcomed, entertained, and contested in the spirit of seeking truth. It comes as the university fights a legal battle with the Trump administration, which froze billions of dollars of federal funding amid accusations of anti-Semitism at campus protests. Well, the lights are almost fully back on in Spain and Portugal after yesterday's massive blackout, but it's still not clear what caused the outage. The Portuguese grid operator said earlier today that all 6.4 million of its customers had power back. In Spain, more than 99% of energy demand has been restored. Today, train stations in Madrid were packed as stranded passengers tried to get home. Emergency workers in Spain say nearly 35,000 people had to be rescued along railways and underground. Speaking today, Spain's prime minister dismissed claims that the blackout was caused by a cyber attack and said officials are investigating the cause.
The government of Spain is going to get to the bottom of this matter. Reforms will be made, and necessary measures will be taken to ensure this does not happen again. And, obviously, we will demand the relevant responsibilities from all private operators.
The blackout was one of Europe's most severe outages in recent memory. Spain lost the equivalent of 60% of its national energy demand in just 5 seconds, knocking out transit, banking, and phone services, among others. Here at home, the Senate today confirmed David Perdue as President Trump's U.S. ambassador to China. Perdue is a former business executive who served a single term as a Republican senator from Georgia. He steps into the job in the middle of a tense tariff war between the two largest economies in the world. China's military actions in the Indo-Pacific have also deepened its strategic rivalry with the U.S. At his confirmation hearing earlier this month, Perdue described the U.S. relationship with China as the, quote, most consequential diplomatic challenge of the 21st century. The Trump administration has dismissed many of former President Joe Biden's nominees to the board that oversees the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum here in Washington, D.C. That includes Doug Emhoff, the husband of former Vice President Kamala Harris. In a statement, Emhoff, who is Jewish, wrote, quote, let me be clear, Holocaust remembrance and education should never be politicized. Former Biden Chief of Staff Ron Klain and former domestic policy advisor Susan Rice were also let go. In Illinois, families and loved ones grieved today after a vehicle plowed through a building on Monday, killing 3 children and a teenager at an after-school program.
Kill some kids. Those are kids.
Oh, no. The victims ranged in age from 18 to as young as 7. 6 other children were hurt. Officials say the driver was a 44-year-old woman who was not injured in the crash. Toxicology reports are pending to see if she was impaired. Authorities say the crash is under investigation, but they do not believe it was a targeted attack. On the West Coast, Los Angeles County workers walked the picket line today to demand higher wages. The workers showed up by the tens of thousands, the first time ever that all of LA County's union members went on strike. The 2-day stoppage could mean closures or disruptions to many critical government services in a county that's home to some 10 million people. The government there says it's facing unprecedented stresses and has little room in its budget for increased pay. The union's last contract expired in March. A prosecutor told a court in England today that the famous Sycamore Gap tree was cut down in a deliberate and mindless act. The majestic landmark once sat between 2 hills along the ancient Hadrian's Wall in northern England. It was a popular tourist site that was even featured in the Kevin Costner film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Authorities say they have evidence that a man cut it down at night with a chainsaw in 2023 while another filmed the act. 2 men in their 30s have pleaded not guilty to 2 counts each of criminal damage. On Wall Street today, stocks ended higher as investors weigh the latest developments on tariffs and potential trade deals. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 300 points on the day. The Nasdaq gained nearly 100 points, or about 0.5%. The S&P 500 also closed in positive territory. And Congress today bestowed its highest civilian honor, the Congressional Gold Medal, to the only Black, all-female unit that served in Europe during World War II. The 6888, as it was commonly known, played an invaluable role by processing a backlog of about 17 million pieces of mail in just 3 months. That was twice as fast as expected, and it delivered a much-needed morale boost to American forces. In a ceremony this afternoon at the Capitol, House Speaker Mike Johnson said the honor was long overdue.
They got the job done, even in the face of inadequate supplies and even in the face of discrimination, both for within the Army and back home. These women were valiant members of our greatest generation.
The 6888 inspired generations of Black women to join the military and were the subject of a documentary and also a feature film starring actress Kerry Washington. Still to come on the NewsHour, Republican Congresswoman Maria Salazar discusses the first 100 days of the Trump administration. We examine the widespread impact of the president's aggressive immigration policies. And the CEO of PBS on the potential impact of cutting government funding for public media.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.